Welcome back to the channel, guys. In this video, let's talk some layer 1 blockchains, see where the landscape is right now and what upcoming events could be potential price catalysts. On top of this, we're going to look at the macro backdrop and also some pre-sales. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on those post notifications. So Bitcoin sat here at around 48,500. The number of times we've been pushing up towards 50k, and crypto Twitter gets super bullish at that resistance point and then gets very bearish when we go to the low 47s. It's simply just craziness to watch. Bullish at resistance, bearish at support, but other than that, over the weekend, not a lot to write home about. Altcoins continue to bleed off as we need a resolution to this Bitcoin price action, hopefully to the upside, but there are things on the horizon here that could be bearish short term. Currently, the fear and greed index is at 28. We were down as low as 16 just last week. And if we look at the overall chart here, you can see we've had a few peaks down to 16, bouncing back to 28, 16, around the 28 again. We'll probably come down once more. So what price levels should we be looking for? Well, Pantoshi puts this. So what now? Bitcoin needs to reclaim 52 to 53,000. Currently, the local lower high. There is a ton of resistance in that region. So trend line, market structure, 21-week MA, as well as the 4-hour and 1-day moving averages and exponential moving averages. By flipping bull there, we reduce downside risk and are still able to compound off these 60k shorts. So this is the region here at around 53,000 we need to reclaim before flipping bullish again. Many traders citing this as the area that they're looking for. And if we just go up here, we can see Will Clemente, 53k is his line in the sand as well. Flip that and we're back to business. But what's going on currently? Well, there's a lot of talk about raising interest rates by the Fed. The FOMC meet is on the 14th and 15th of December, so Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. So a little update to this here. So someone was asking Tasha here about the inflation rate and raising rates, and she explains that currently inflation is mostly a supply shock story. That's where the Fed didn't do anything, but when everyone says the government needs to do something, it eventually has to, and even if it's a useless action, populism is powerful. So this kind of do something rhetoric, we can't see 6.8%. Well, unfortunately, the supply side is what's causing inflation here and not so much demand driven. So they can raise rates here, but because the supply bottleneck is what's driving up the prices and not demand overheating, so it's not just people spending loads of money, well, the effect of raising interest rates usually cuts people's disposable income and thus reduces demand. But if it's a supply driven phenomenon here and demand isn't your issue, you're going to stifle demand here, and this is going to be detrimental economic growth wise. So that is the issue and the kind of rock and a hard place we're at here. So 14th and 15th, the Fed are going to meet. There will be some more statements as to the roadmap forward for increasing rates and the potential for tapering. So this from TED Talks Macro, the market is pricing in that the Federal Reserve makes their first rate hike in June of next year. So that is the prediction here by many analysts. Also worth noting that the market is pricing in that the Fed raises rates 3 times by December of next year. And he says maybe the worst is priced in already. And this shows the increased rates that they're projecting out here. Not too much to go into there. But the suggestion is here, we've had a bit of a sell-off in the stock markets and of course crypto as well. Both are highly correlated at this point. And if rates do get increased, or at least there is some posturing towards that, we likely see a short-term sell-off. But this is kind of suggesting that maybe this is already being priced in by the markets. People are expecting very hawkish statements from the Fed. And so maybe the worst is over here. However, I would suggest that it's probably best to err on the side of caution. But my view on this is that the Fed will increase rates. We're going to get some inclination as to how quickly this is going to happen. And the markets will probably in the very short term react negatively to this. So as I say, December is probably a hell of a choppy month, and anything other than a nuke coming out of these Fed meetings is probably a positive for the markets overall. We're standing somewhat strong at this moment around that 48k level. We're just waiting for the next move. So let's jump into some L1s here. I've pretty much put together all the L1s that I'm interested in, starting from Ethereum, the biggest market cap, all the way down here to Moonriver, which has sold off significantly. I would suggest is probably a decent purchase, 478 mil market cap. You can also see from this Oasis Network, Rose, and Nia Protocol have had a good week overall. and otherwise in a very bloody market condition here. Solana is pretty much hanging on by a thread to a previous level of support at around that $160 to $170 region. If it breaks that, it can go quite a bit lower. Most things here are actually just sat on support, and so we're just waiting for the market to make decisions. Are we going to go up from here, potentially have a bounce, or are we going lower? It does seem to be hold on tight and buckle up season. Polygon sub $2, Algorand $1.50. Phantoms continue to sell off down here and was recently jumped over by Near Protocol and Elrond. So let's jump into some updates. So Polkadot wise, people have been very disappointed with the price action on Polkadot. If we just go down to here, you can see even before all the hype of the parachains, the price was still above like 27, 28 bucks. We've come to pretty much lower levels than the pre-parachain hype, which is not good and suggests to me that the hype train for Polkadot has fizzled out somewhat. But is there light at the end of the tunnel? Well, we have the first batch of parachains close to launching on Polkadot. So December 18th, which is this coming Saturday, they will have a Polkadot parachain party to celebrate this historic milestone. So the first parachain going live on Saturday of this coming week. This could be a potential catalyst for some positive news. And if we just scroll down a little bit, someone's actually posted pretty much sentiment online right now. The team and Gav of York need to do something about the lack of momentum for the project. The crowd loans have been a total fizzer. Price is currently lower today than it was before the auctions were introduced. Things are not okay. The time for action is now. Well, typically the chart looks worse before it looks its best. And when you see this very negative sentiment towards a project, you typically get a reversal after this. Of course, we're waiting on all of these different macroeconomic factors right now. So even if they come out with some amazing announcements, it's probably going to be short-lived. We need a clearer macro landscape here. So Donny Big Bags posts this. In the weeks and months that follow, we will witness a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem of blockchains finally taking flight. No one is even talking about it right now, but they will. So Polkadot season should come at some point, something to look forward to. Terra is also retesting a previous area of support around the high 50s. It acted as resistance back here, was support just a couple of days ago here, and we had a little bounce off it just by here as well. So this may have gone up quite a bit due to the impending White Whale and Astroport's initial distribution phases. So these kind of, they're not IDOs, but they're initial like bootstrappings to these protocols. We can get some tokens. Well, maybe people needed to buy a load of Luna to get involved with this. So that could have been the reason for the big price rise over the last couple of weeks. So currently we have the launch of White Whale here, where you can spend some of your UST and get some whale tokens. The price of this does decay over time. As you can see, it went down quite a lot. Someone stepped in with some big demand here, spiked the price up, similar to what we've seen on copper launches, and then the price just continues to decay over time. But as we get closer to the end of this, there's 1 day and 15 hours remaining, with still plenty of coins for sale, over 70 million out of 100 million, while we start to enter into some very interesting price territory. So currently under 20 cents, it's currently at 19 cents. And this is what I'm adding to. I really like what White Whale is doing. It's fundamentally very important for the Terra ecosystem and stabilization of the peg. And I think these tokens will accrue a lot of value over time. So that is currently ongoing. You've just got over a day to get involved there. And then we have Astroport, which starts its lock drop tomorrow on the 14th of December. Today, there's actually an AMA over on Twitter, which will have been completed by the time I get this video out, but hopefully this might be posted on Danku's channel as well. So over this first 5 days, starting on the 14th, you can get your LP tokens ready to participate in this ecosystem. Depositing your LP tokens to Astroport here will get you some Astro tokens in return, and you can start to pull your tokens out during the first 5 days, and then after that, they will get locked in. So it's definitely worth having a think about your strategy, how much funds you want to actually participate with in this, and what various LP tokens you want to contribute. Do you want to maintain your Luna holdings? If so, just go for the Luna LP position, which is my current plan of action. But if you want to do other things, of course, the floor is yours to do exactly what you want. But if you come over to their Twitter page here, there's quite a lot of discussion going on around that. We're seeing continued UST demand growth, which is good. It is slightly flattening out here, so not as parabolic as it has been, but we're still now over $8.7 billion in market cap and pushing towards DAI. The flippening will come soon. Then we have Polygon Matic here, another smart contract platform that does have a bit of momentum behind it and lots of positive news narrative. This one is now below $2, and I think it's a pretty good place to be buying. I'm personally holding off my purchases until we have some more notification from the Fed as to the path forward, but this is one definitely I will be adding to on any more substantial dips that come. And if we just scroll down here, you can see over the last 30 days, this peaked out to around $2.60. So we're 25% off the high back here, which was just around 5 days ago. So a nice discount on offer. So what has been going on Polygon? Huge amounts of investment. They're not just receiving funding, they're also spending some of their tokens and acquiring other chains like we covered on Friday. And this is coming up soon, the deployment of Uniswap onto Polygon. If you also factor in that the NFT marketplace on Coinbase will be utilizing Polygon, there's going to be huge demand for this chain going forward and a lot more users coming onto it. So I think in terms of places to park your funds, for lower risk, potentially still high rewards, but I think this is kind of a less risky strategy. Polygon looks like a dead certainty to do very well in certainly the medium to long term here. So Polygon Matic, a strong contender in the L1 scene. Then we have Ethereum, gas cost just 33 Gwei right now. If you do need to approve any tokens on Uniswap, for example, if you've got bags that can only be sold on Uniswap, go and approve the tokens whilst the gas is low. You'll save yourself quite a few dollars and some ETH here. It's just under $4,000. If we look at it versus Bitcoin though, it's pretty much come to retest the previous high back here at 0.082. So this looks like a potential resistance being flipped into support on a pullback here. So on a load of time frames, most of the cryptos are sitting on various lines of support. We don't want to see them break down, but Ether being a major catalyst for the crypto ecosystem as a whole, and of course for altcoins, you want to see this line hold, which it is doing at this moment in time. And it's also being talked about in a kind of different term right now. So Ethereum is transitioning from a C2U, a chain to user experience or platform, to a C2C, a chain to chain platform via the layer 2. And it's becoming increasingly easy to just interact with the layer 2s of ETH, the likes of Arbitrum, Polygon. You can just pretty much transact from centralized exchanges to these directly now, which wasn't possible before. So Layer 1 Ethereum is becoming kind of that value chain, and then the L2s are where you go and carry out your various functions. So the crypto ecosystem evolves very quickly, and you can see Ethereum's actual role in the overall ecosystem has also taken on a new lease of life, or is appearing to transition into a new lease of life. So very interesting to see the shaping up of these various L1s. In terms of institutional flows of money into the space, this is probably where they're going to be parking the majority of those funds, so it makes sense to have a core portfolio established in some of these likely names. Now today they have the Soul Chicks IDO launch. There's a little video on their channel here. You need to connect your wallet over on their website. So this will be your Solana wallet, so Phantom for example. You'll then see the amount of tokens you can claim, and then you can get those tokens directly into your wallet. And this one goes live on the Radium DEX, so just be aware of that. We've also got another launchpad coming up later on today, Trust Swap with the Earn Guild IDO. This one again is super exciting. Gaming guilds in general for me are low risk strategies. They're clearly going to be onboarding a ton of new users for these play to earn games that are coming out in abundance in 2022. And so the growth of guilds just makes a lot of sense to me. I see these as the recruitment centers for the new world in which we're going towards, where many people will start to work in the metaverse. And then just rounding up here, Ascendex was actually hacked over the weekend. Any impacted users will be refunded 100%. We will continue to provide transparency and appreciate your support. So apparently user funds will not be affected. It was a hot wallet that was hacked, around $80 million in funds. And hopefully we get a quick resolution to this, as I know a lot of people have been affected by this due to the fact Ascendex have some awesome staking rates. But this shows that centralized exchanges are essentially honeypots to hackers who want to get hold of crypto funds. So always be careful out there. Use a ledger if you know how to use one. But in this circumstance, it does look like users will be made whole once again. So not the worst ending to a hack. So there we have it, a rundown of some of the leading layer 1 platforms and some of the updates going on right now. Even during bearish times, you can see there are catalysts on the horizon that could make the prices jump back up if we get some positive macro sentiment here. We are relying on the Fed to provide something less than a giga nuke this coming week, but overall markets look like they're just waiting for a resolution either one way to the up or downside. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you did, please subscribe to the channel and check out the pinned comment down below, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.